Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and awesome perspectives in the world of film and television.
You changed that a little bit.
I did change that a little bit. And,
people aren't going to know what they're listening to, Matt.
My name is Matt Hay.
No, they're turning off the podcast. Don't turn off the podcast.
I am Matt Hay, and I have Joel Cunningham with me. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hello, Puppet.
Exactly.
I got to say that.
Exactly.
Because we're talking about pirates.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
I can do Australian. I can't do that British version.
It's really hard, and I will often switch from one to the other without even knowing it. Where I think I'm doing British, and I start doing Australian.
And he's like, "Hello, governor."
Hello, governor. That's more like Cagney. It's like, sweep your chimney, love. Hello. and then I think Australian is more just like, all right, yeah, it's great, okay. Yeah, right, bruh. Yeah, go over here, ma.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, let's just go on then. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So
there we go.
So, no, what we're going to do, I guess to start out, Joel, why don't you tell the lovely people how they can get a hold of us
lovely
and
people.
Connect with us?
Yes, well, all the lovely people out there, you can definitely get connected to the podcast a number of different ways. You can get connected to us on our website, which is realviewmedia.com. And obviously, we have a Facebook where you can check out what we got going on. We post things up there all the time, facebook.com/realviewmedia. And we've got our Twitter, we've got our Instagram, which is @realviewmedia. You can definitely give us a follow and see what we've got going on. And then, as always, if you have a thought, a question, a perspective, maybe an excitement level that you want to share with us for an upcoming film or a news article that you think would be great for us to check out, you can email us. There you go, at realreviewmedia@gmail.com. And as always, real is spelled REEL. So there you go, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm leaving.
No, that's good. That sounds great.
I'm going home.
Follow those rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into this thing, because we have a couple of.
Let's parlay into this thing.
Hey, I saw what you did there.
I'm pulling all the Pirates references out.
Gosh,
there
yeah. I'll just wait for that rum one to show up at some
point
in time.
It's a good one.
So we got a couple of big ones coming up. Obviously, the biggest one I would say is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. And this one is the fifth one in the series.
Yes.
The other release is Baywatch, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So Pirates of the Caribbean, just to give you kind of the...
synopsis?
The synopsis, is that how you say it?
I think so. That's how I say it. It's super short. The super tiny synopsis is Captain Jack Sparrow searches for the Trident of Poseidon. That's the synopsis that they have on IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this isn't saying a lot, and just kind of some news that I've heard, some people that have had a chance to see it.
Yep.
It's the second best one to the original.
Wow.
But that's not saying a lot because 2, 3, and 4 weren't that good.
Now, 2, 3, and 4, I didn't see all of 4. I actually got bored and turned it off, which is very rare for me. 2 and 3 were frustratingly bad.
Yeah.
I was just so annoyed. It felt like they put things in there just to make 2 films out of it.
Right.
Specifically with the relationships between the characters. And then additionally, what I'm hoping they do with this film, and I know this sounds really silly probably to a lot of people, is I'm actually hoping they kill off some people. Not because I want them dead, but I felt like that was a huge part of 2 and 3 that was really difficult for me, is that you kind of knew after like a certain point that, they get in these big grandiose fights, but the same cast of characters is always going to survive it. And they're always going to come on the other side. And they're going to have some like hijinks during the fights, but it removes any sense of suspense because it's like, well, they're not going to die. They might get scratched.
Yeah. So
Maybe.
I'm not really excited to see this movie. I do like the idea of seeing ghosts/zombie sharks.
Yeah.
But I think the CG looks really cool. I like, some people don't like it, but I kind of like the weird effect with the floaty, like they're in water kind of effect. That's especially on Javier Bardem. They need to make Johnny Depp less of a cartoon.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: when we saw the original Pirates of the Caribbean, he was not the main character.
Yeah.
He was more auxiliary.
Right. He was always a secondary. He was kind of the catalyst for a lot of things that were going on.
And then he was so popular that Disney was like, hey, let's make him the main character. And I think that's where it kind of faltered a lot.
Agreed.
And I think if they can get him being less of a cartoon, because that's what happened in 2, 3, and 4, he lost like the original, who Jack Sparrow is, and is more about like, I'm a guy playing this Jack Sparrow part,
Right. His talents are like luck. It feels like he always has luck on his side.
Right.
And then he's kind of in a way an idiot savant.
Yeah.
He kind of like lucks into things a lot of times, but then every once in a while he just really ties things together well and just makes the right decision at the right time.
Right.
With he's got like the deep down, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He does like a lot of stupid things. And so he's enjoyable in that sense. And I think I probably need to go back and actually watch 4. No, you don't think so?
Does
it tie into?
I mean, maybe a little, but it depends on what this one's going to be like. I don't know. Let me just say this. This movie is at a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not good.
Oh, yeah, not good at all.
And that's, like I said earlier, a lot of people are saying this is the best one since the first one, but that's not saying a lot because 33%. But here's the thing. I liked King Arthur. And that got like a 30% or something.
You're calling that you're probably going to like this more
not
than
necessarily.
The critics,
Not necessarily.
Okay.
We'll see. I felt like King Arthur got kind of there's a stylistic choice that people couldn't get on board with.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, I think people are just upset with the franchise and where it went because of how good and how much people enjoyed the first one.
Yeah. That
it's frustrating, and so we'll wait and see, because a lot of what I've read is it's more of what you see in the previous film. So I don't.
Yeah, it feels. I was a bit more excited about this until I actually started reading up on the story. Right. I know the pirates. I know that their goal is to find the buried treasure. That's like their thing. But you can only deal with that so many films. Like, he can only be looking for a certain buried treasure in a certain place and find it in a certain way so many times before it's kind of like, really? That's where you're going to go again? Yep. It's like, let's just remake the same movie with a different buried treasure and a different bad guy and a different setup for different action sequences, Yep. So I was really hoping that this would have been more of a straightforward, like, revenge tale of Salazar trying to, like, attack Johnny Depp and kill him, and he's on the run, and they have to go to these crazy places to kind of get away from his reach.
Right.
But if they're going to make it a straightforward, like, no, they're looking for this treasure while also being pursued by Salazar, it's like,
right.
We've seen that. And then there's, like, the obvious love interest, the two people that, aren't able to be together. The one thing that I will say about this in the preview, at least, is that the humor was there in a couple of scenes. It actually did make me kind of chuckle a little bit. Whereas in, like, most of the other films, there was nothing funny except for the first one. The first one had some great humor. So in that sense, I'm a little excited about it. This has not been an amazing year for films.
Right.
So it's not like I'm like, well, this is, going to be a drip in the bucket. This is probably going to be a pretty successful film. Yeah,
I think it's going to do well just because of the property.
Yes.
People love Johnny Depp. Most people love Johnny Depp, I guess. And
it's going to be the main film to go see, competing with the next film we're going to talk about, which is like, there's going to be a very select group of people going to see that one.
Very niche market. So,
right.
So my excitement level for Pirates, 5, maybe.
Yeah.
5 out of 10.
Probably.
Where you at?
Probably close to the same. I'd say maybe closer to 4. I really didn't like 2 and 3. Really did not like 2 and 3. So.
So I was almost fell asleep in the second one, I think.
Yeah.
It was bad.
So,
so anyways, so that's that. The next film that we're going to talk about is Baywatch.
Bow, bow, bow.
So, is that how that goes? Okay.
That's John Cena, but
okay. So, devoted lifeguard Mitch Buchanan butts heads with a brash new recruit. Mm-hmm. Together they uncover a local criminal plot that threatens the future of the Bay.
I love that, the Bay.
Yeah, directed by Seth Gordon. Stars Dwayne Johnson, Zac Efron, Priyanka Chopra, Alexander Daddario, Kelly Rohrbach, among others.
Right. Lots of attractive people and one less than attractive person, basically.
Right. To play that role.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. And so this is actually it's directed, like you said, by Seth Gordon, who's the same guy that did Horrible Bosses.
Right.
But he also did Identity Thief, which was not a great movie. I liked Horrible Bosses. I thought it was good. But then Identity Thief was like the worst thing ever. So very hit or miss with this guy is what I would say as far as directing style goes. And we did talk a bit about this in a prior episode. We talked about some information I had gotten through a sneak preview about the film.
Because it's still under embargo.
Yes, still under embargo. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, as far as interest level goes, you kind of know where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about this, and you could find it on one of our previous episodes. It was when we talked about John Wick.
Yeah, I think it was John Wick, and I think we included in the title sneak preview.
Yeah, sneak preview. That's right. So you can go find that. But yeah, I don't know. My level of excitement definitely isn't there, especially hearing what you heard as well. So, well, I don't know. We'll have to see. I love The Rock.
Yeah.
And we just heard that he's could potentially run for president in 2020.
Yeah, he could.
And he's saying, it's not out of my realm of possibility or whatever he said.
It would be interesting to see. I don't know what his platform would be.
So let's say this though, because Kanye West also said he was going to run for president. I would love to see Dwayne Johnson beat Kanye West. Please, I do know what Kanye is.
Yeah, not even talking about any current political people. I would just love to see those two people run just to see how that happens.
The Rock versus Yeezy.
Yeah. I mean, that would just be an amazing set of circumstances there.
That'd be crazy.
You'd have, I don't know. That would probably be the most turned out election. I didn't even know, turned out, but they would have the most people turning up for that, or the least amount of people would turn out for that. I don't know, depending upon
who this movie is just totally reaching out to a very niche market. It's got that over the top gross out humor, adult humor, and going to be trying to probably just put a spin on a really tired old, something's going on our watch. We gotta take down the bad guys, even though it's really not our job.
Yeah,
kind of like the kids of the neighborhood that bound together to really subvert some sort of thing that's hurting people in the neighborhood, something just something like that.
Yeah,
it's not really their job, but they're taking initiative to do it, and they think they're way cooler than they actually are.
Yeah, way cooler, way more important things happen to them that's completely unrealistic considering the job that they have, and just stupid stuff, and R-rated humor mixed in with language and gross out type stuff happening all the way through. So yeah. Excitement
level, what you got?
2.
Hey, I'll go 1.796 repeating.
Hey, look at that.
Yep.
That's 0.111 or 0.333799999. There you go.
Something like that.
There you go.
But yeah, so that takes us into our next part, which would be movie news.
Yes.
And there's not really kind of an easy way to segue into this segment a little bit, especially kind of given the weight of this. But breaking news as of today, and this will actually be coming out a couple days later, but we just received notice that Zack Snyder, who helmed Justice League, who did
he's done 300.
Right,
I mean, he's done a bunch
Batman v Superman,
Sucker Punch,
Man of Steel, but he is actually stepping out of the filmmaking process for the Justice League film that they're working on right now. He is going to be with his family right now. His daughter passed away, and so he's stepping down, and interesting enough, Joss Whedon is actually stepping in to fill his shoes for the rest of whatever they have left.
So they're in post-production and additional shoots and reshoots.
Okay.
So that's kind of where the film fills in. So post is actually a huge part of a filmmaking process.
Does that include editing?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's editing, that's the sound effects, visual effects.
Joss is going to be in charge of that.
Right. Joss is going to be, and that's really where you can set the tone and the pace and the style of the film. So it's like if the dialogue's not there, it's not there. If the scene's not there, it's not there. There's nothing, unless they can cover it in reshoots.
Right.
But you can really control the pacing, because that's where you would add a slow motion effect.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which Zack Snyder is a huge fan of,
right?
But Joss Whedon isn't as big of a fan of.
It's going to feel a little bit different,
right?
For sure.
And so they're Joss Whedon has a very kind of different style than Zack Snyder, and we're not going to go into all the details and talking about their different styles, but Zack Snyder likes to go for epic, larger than life, grand type stuff, where Joss Whedon likes to go more about
character.
Yeah, he's more character driven. He does like to do action sequences and set pieces. Yeah. But Zack Snyder is all about let's just make this as big music video type thing as we can.
Right.
And since they're working on VFX, and since it'll just be interesting to see. And maybe Zach is still going to have access to things, and Joss will be kind of hitting him up for advice on hey, what was your vision for this, or what was your vision for that?
Right.
And they usually do have post-production managers and supervisors. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of impacts it has.
Yeah. So definitely super sad news.
Yeah, I definitely feel bad for Zach.
Hearts go out to him for sure. And that's just a tough thing for him, his family, and we'll see kind of what transpires from that later on.
Yep.
Next bit of news I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is These next two pieces of news have to do with Toms, but this first one is Tom Hardy was recently cast as the character Venom for Sony. For Sony's like little mini, cinematic universe they have with their comic book properties.
Yep.
So Venom, if you're not familiar with it, he's one of the main antagonists for a while for Spider-Man.
Right.
Which right now, Spider-Man, as in like Spider-Man who was in Civil War and who is coming in up in Spider-Man Homecoming, is a part of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where it's unclear right now that Venom is not. Right. As of right now, he is not.
Right.
And
he hasn't been utilized in anything except for the one Spider-Man 3 film.
Where your doppelganger played him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I guess.
Topher Grace played Venom.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joel's got a little bit of a Topher Grace about him. Just a little bit. Anyways, so that was a lot of Spider-Man 3 from my understanding, was a lot of studio meddling in Sam Raimi's kind of
Raimi didn't want Venom, but the studio wanted Venom supposedly and forced him in there and everything. So.
But what they wanted to do is not just make a Venom movie. They want to make a standalone Venom movie with Tom Hardy, but it's going to be a rated R film.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Yeah. That's pretty intense.
So this is going to be a real step in a direction. I think they're seeing the successes that Fox has with their properties, their Marvel properties, not a part of the MCU with Logan and Deadpool.
I was going to say, when you look at Logan and Deadpool, I mean, there's some of the more violent films of some of the years that we've had, and they've done really well.
Yeah.
So, but Venom is a much darker story.
It calls for it.
It calls for a much darker feel than even Logan was. I mean, Logan had some dark elements to it, but it was more dark because of the dramatic stuff and definitely people dying. But like Venom is people's bodies being like invaded by a virus and killing off things and losing control. And I mean, you could do some really dark stuff. I feel like with that. So it'd be interesting to see.
As far as the cast, I think Tom Hardy's great.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Eddie Brock, who's the character that initially comes in contact, he's like an astronaut that comes into contact with the Venom sort of, it's like an alien amoeba type thing. It has like a symbiotic relationship where it uses the host and then gives them powers, but kind of like turns them into an alternate version of themselves that become more evil and obsessed and stuff. But if you look at Eddie Brock, he's like a bigger guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's not like Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3. He's like a bigger guy, so he actually fits the comic book version.
He can portray the physicality better, I think, too.
You know what I mean? So I think he actually fits well with it. And so I'm excited about it. And I do really like Venom. Venom was one of my favorite parts of the original cartoon series. Yeah. You know, I always thought he was really interesting in a way. And seeing how Spider-Man was going to like overcome him and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see if Spider-Man does make an appearance, because how are they going to defeat Venom unless there's some...
He's co-owned right now with actual Marvel Studios and Sony. So it's a really weird situation. I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly either. But I mean, excited for it in a bit.
We shall see. So that's pretty cool. And on to our next bit of news about Toms is we have Tom Holland. Who's currently getting ready to release Spider-Man: Homecoming, and it looks good. I thought he was great in Civil War. I think he's a great Spider-Man, and he's actually been tapped to play Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. As Nathan Drake in an Uncharted prequel of sorts, when Nathan Drake is real young still.
This is a movie. Or is this the game?
No, they're making a movie.
Okay, right. I knew they were making an Uncharted movie, but I didn't know they were going to do like a prequel type thing.
So he was cast as Nathan Drake as to be like a younger Nathan Drake, because we know that Tom Holland is a young looking dude. I mean, he's like 19 years old. Right.
Set in high school. I mean, that Spider-Man is high school.
Exactly. So, and again, this is another Sony property. This... I don't know. In my mind, so first of all, if you're not familiar with Uncharted, it's basically like Indiana Jones.
Right. Set in modern time.
Right. Adventures, all kinds of crazy things happening.
Yeah. Think of like a Nathan Fillion type guy is what I would consider his older version of.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk about like who could play something like this, and people throw out names like Brad Cooper, Chris Pratt, a couple other people like that fall in that same. Like Nathan Fillion. He might be too old.
He might be at this point. Yeah. When he was younger, he had the look.
So throwing like those kinds of names in a hat, like in that. So I've heard a lot of like backlash on this, because people are like, if you're going to do an Uncharted movie, why are you doing something that's not like the Nathan Drake that we know? And why is it something that's based off of like before he's the Nathan Drake we know?
Yeah.
So I don't mind. I don't have a particular connection with the Uncharted series. I played all the demos. I never played actually all the games.
Yeah.
I got filled in with some friends that were like,
they're made by Naughty Dog, right? And so I played Last of Us, which is actually based on your suggestion, which is an amazing game.
Yeah.
Very, very absorbing cinematic style game, which I believe Uncharted does also. They're very cinematic.
Very similar.
You know, you get into the characters and the story that's kind of playing out.
Yeah.
Very interactive in that way. I've never played them, but I've heard good things.
Yeah.
And it seems like it would translate well or better into a type of that than like a Mario type thing, you know, like, or Metroid or something like that. That's primarily just an action with very basic story that kind of supports it. So, but yeah, I would question why they're doing a young thing. I don't understand if they're trying to set up something with that. I mean, it's, I don't
care.
know.
Tom Holland's super talented guy. I'm sure he'll be able to pull off whatever I think they should really, instead of forming a story around an actor that they hire, though, more so just have a story and fill with whoever's best for that part.
Yeah.
Regardless, I'm excited to see it's yet another shot to make a good video game movie, which we really technically haven't had one yet. So Mortal Kombat is, I have a really special place in my heart for Mortal Kombat.
That's when you love to just think it's stupid but love it.
I saw it. It is a guilty pleasure. I saw it in the movie theater twice. I was really young though.
Yeah. I saw it as a kid and it was like the most awesome thing ever when I was a kid. And then you get older and you're like, oh my gosh, this is super silly, super cheesy. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Anyways,
but effective. It worked.
So a couple of real quick things I just want to throw in there, just real quick, because we can, and that's one this
is our podcast. We talk about what we want to talk about.
Universal Pictures finally named their monster cinematic universe, because you know, like everything has a cinematic universe. So we have Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have the DC Extended Universe, DCEU, and then you have now, which we were calling like the Monster Universe now, with like the Mummy, and they're gonna have Frankenstein, all these people. They're gonna call it the Dark Universe.
The Dark Universe.
So it's gonna have, you're gonna have the Mummy, you're gonna have, you know, Jekyll, Hyde, all that stuff.
Bride of Frankenstein,
the Invisible Man. But you got some talent. You got like Johnny Depp, you got Javier Bardem, which is odd because we just talked about them a little bit ago. All joining that. So I think that's kind of cool. I'm sure, you know, everybody's gonna have their universe. We'll see.
It's bold.
Yeah, it's bold.
It's bold. I would say
it's a bold move. Cut and see how it plays out for him.
Yeah, the thing is that they're taking, the thing that sounds silly about this, but very true, is that Marvel, in a way, was so successful because they were taking a well-known property that was loved by people, a smaller-ish type fan group, and moving it into a completely alternate style of format. Yeah. They were taking comic books and media of that nature and graphic novels into film. Yeah. So they're kind of upgrading it. Yep. Whereas with this, they're taking films and filming characters into other films. Yep. So they're not really doing anything to like expand it in my mind, except they're just trying to put new wheels on it and make more money off of it, is really what it feels like. Yep. So I'm not as excited about this maybe as some people, because I'm like, I don't really need a cinematic universe for Frankenstein or for the Beast or the Swamp Thing, or you know. So I'm not that excited about it. If the movies are good, they're good, and I'll enjoy them for that own sake. Yeah. But I'm not excited about them, and it's going to be a huge test for me to see how this current Mummy film is. I'm excited for the Mummy. I think it's going to be one of those fun movies that's not like great. I don't know, maybe. I think that's what it's going to be for me. I think. We'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. The problem that I've had these days with a lot of these types of films from studios is they're really good at not making them fun stupid. Right. They're really good at making them just bad or decent, but they're not good at making it like tongue-in-cheek. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculously stupid. I don't want it to be like that, though. I know. I want it to be more serious, but still be fun. Awesome. I want it to be, if it's going to be bad, I want it to be enjoyably bad. Okay. If that makes sense. Yeah. Like I want it to just be so, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous type thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they're not good at that anymore. They try to make films really serious. Yeah. Huh. So I don't know. We'll see. It's all good. We'll see. Yeah. Well, that wraps up this episode of our Coming Soon in News segment. Again, you can reach out to us, facebook.com/RealReviewMedia. Also Twitter, Instagram @RealReviewMedia, and our website, realreviewmedia.com, and email us. Let us know what's up. Let us know if there's some news items that you think is noteworthy.
or you want to tell us about, maybe we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
Cool. Email us, realreviewmedia@gmail.com. Let us know what's up with that. But other than that, you have anything else, Joel?
No, I think we're good, Matthew.
All right, mate.
Right, yeah.
It sounds really good.
There we go.
All right, I like it.
Yeah, let's talk.
What's going on with your voice over there? It's like you're talking through your nose or something.
I've got sinus infection.
All right.
I've got allergies, Matt. Why are you making fun of me allergies?
All right, well, it's been real.
It's been real.